My name is Deegen. I am a senior small business management entrepreneurship major with a minor in information systems focusing on SAP. I'm from Canton, Georgia. For some of you may know, a small town just north of Atlanta. I went to Creekview High School and graduated. And I had a good buddy I played baseball with. And he was like, "Hey, we should start our own t-shirt company." And I was like, "T-shirts, man, really?" So we started looking into it a little more. We found there's actually kind of a market for it. This is when the big boom came out with Vineyard Vine, Southern Tide. So we started Southern Shade, which is what we call it. We ran it for about a year in our senior year, and then out of high school we took over our own manufacturing and bought a new Anajet direct-to-garment printer, which is a digital screen printing, a lot easier to customize, everything like that. But it's not what I'm here to talk with you about today. It's just kind of how I started my entrepreneurial spirit and gave me that passion. So I came to college, Georgia Southern, of course, the only school I've ever been to, love it, absolutely. I pledged a Sigma Nu fraternity, spring of 13, spring of my freshman year. Within 6 months, I was president, right? I had no idea what a fraternity was. I was 6 months in. We had just got recently reorganized by our national organization. We went from about 65 brothers down to 19. So it left us with a window of, we need somebody to step in as president. I was like, you know what, why not, right? What's the worst that can happen? So I took over as president, really unorganized, the way it was run. Didn't really know like the management styles I wanted to use. So first semester I was like the hardcore, buy the books. And the second semester I was like, okay, we kind of relax a little bit. It's still a fraternity at the end of the day. So that brings me to my point of where we started our company now, which is called ChapterEase, which is an online management solution for fraternities and sororities. So it includes voting, attendance, new member, running MPLs, budgets, everything like that. It's a way to keep chapters transparent and accountable for every member. So literally every aspect of the fraternity is now on an app. So we, while I was president, we voted for new members and new elections. Anytime we voted, we'd pass out hand ballots, and everybody fill them in, and I'd have to sit there and hand tally them all. So we're like, why can't we do that online? For the first 20 minutes of our chapter meetings every week, we would call roll. Take 20, 30 minutes, everyone sits there with filling the thumbs while one guy calls out roll. Why can't we do that with our smartphones now through GPS checking? We took that idea to 3DS. It's where we brought on 2 other members of our team. So it's myself, Chris Ponsack, Luke Panosian, and Gabriel Howard. And the first problem I'd like to talk about today is we all started as friends. 3DS is a collaborative group, and so now it's kind of like we have a real company. We're meeting with developers. We're working on our MVP right now. We're trying to launch by the start of June, and it's kind of like, where does the line of friendship stop and business partners begin? So I'm open to any feedback, anything. Yes, sir.
One of my suggestions is y'all should have in writing what everybody's responsibility is. Okay. If you don't already. If there's 5 of y'all, and each of y'all basically have one area that you're kind of in charge of, so to speak, that should be understood. And then the next thought is really how you take ownership. Is everybody equally involved in this? If that's the case, you need to form some type of a entity, whether it's just a partnership or an actual LLC corporation type thing. There again, so it's defined. Everybody has a set of ownership right off the point. Because if it grows, as it will grow, because that sounds like a great, and I'm not familiar with the Greek system, but just in hearing what you're able to do with that, not only is that applicable in the Greek system, but in different type of service clubs and stuff, the exchange clubs, the Rotary clubs, all different types of organizations that have bylaws and officers in attendance. So this can be used all across the spectrum for any types of service organizations. But people are going to come in and go, we want to give you a big chunk of money. And you have to have some understanding on what everybody's, so I mean that's a hard decision. That's something y'all really need to sit down if you lock yourself up in a room with somebody that you really trust, that's an attorney or a legal type, someone that really understands that. Maybe a professor that really understands that, but somebody you trust, and y'all lock yourself up in a room for 8 hours, whatever it takes, but because that will destroy you. And I'm sure we've all read stories, and Dominic's probably seen it, where groups have stopped and got a bunch of buddies got together, had a great idea, could have made millions of dollars, but she said, well, we agreed, we didn't shake, that happens, and it destroys it. It destroys the friendship, destroys it can be a successful business. And it's a fine line, because it's friendship, but business is business. And that's why it needs to be in writing and understood, because there'll be points where you're gonna probably have to throw down on somebody, this is what our deal was, this is what the business was.
So that brings to a point, so during 3DS, we actually had a fifth member that joined our team. She was kind of like a graphic design lady. But then as it came out, so 2 weeks after 3DS, we got into the Savannah competition. So me and my roommate, Chris, we really worked on it hard. We probably put in 140 hours within the 2 weeks right before Savannah, trying to prep for, promo items, stuff like that. But our fifth member kind of didn't really do anything, wasn't really communicating with anybody, so we're kind of like, let's see what happens. If she shows up to Savannah, great. If not, it's not really going to hurt our bottom line, because graphic designers, one of them, they're interchangeable. So we want to find one that has the passion that we have for it, but for graphic design, but still understanding where we come from.
Right.
So, yes, sir.
Let me ask you a higher altitude question, and I know it's going to be shocking to people here that I'm not a millennial, but I'm not one of the millennials, okay? But I am working with several millennials on projects. So my question to you is, and I give a full statement in advance. I do know what the Greek system is. It's just that I was part of it 50 years ago. So my high altitude question for you is, with all of the millennials not supporting the establishment in the elections that are going on, which I realize that's presidential elections, congressional elections, is there still a popularity for Greek organizations? I don't know the answer to that. That's a question I'm asking.
Well, what we found, there's over 100 campuses in the last 3 years that have opened their doors to Greek Latin communities. So the market is growing, although we like to think of it as we live in a glass house. Everybody sees what you're doing, everybody knows what you're doing, and it only takes one member to shatter that house. So as you can imagine, the liabilities that fraternities have are insane. We have to have, everybody we contract with has to have $1 million insurance policy, which is why we want to bring in the transparency aspect. So say you're going to a social event, and before you can sign it on your phone, it brings up a liability waiver saying, I accept these terms, and it'll be like, I will not destroy this, I will not destroy that. So when you accept it, you're saying, I won't break the rules. But then if you end up doing, it will hopefully take some of the liability off the organization as a whole and put it more on the individual. Saying you signed a contract before the social started that you wouldn't do this, but now you do. So it's kind of, we're trying to work with national organizations as well and try to get them on board for the transparency factor. So currently right now in our chapter, I have no idea what our budget is, how much we have in the bank, how much we spent last week, but we have no idea. So we want to be able to have a running budget to where all the transactions are kind of online. So you know how you log into your My Wells Fargo, your My SunTrust, kind of like that, but with the chapter's funds. So you can see what's going on, what's being spent.
So they execute that agreement, and then an incident occurs. That black eye, as we have seen Greek organizations being removed from campuses and closed down because of one incident or multiple incidents, still is a black eye for the whole system. So I don't know if liability protection is sufficient, not from you being indebted to someone, but because of impacting the system that you're trying to help be transparent.
Yeah, and that's an aspect I haven't really thought about. As Greek organizations as a whole right now, it's just under 1 million members. But as you say, chapters come and go, like you eat donuts in the morning. So you never.
How many students?
There's 1 million undergraduate students currently active in fraternities.
How many students? So is that what percentage would that be?
200 million, or 20 million.
Very small
so
percentage.
There's 20 million undergraduate students in America. There's 5 million in student organizations, and then just under 1 million in fraternities and sororities. So we want to focus on the niche market of fraternities and sororities, where this hasn't really been hit yet. But eventually, we want to take this generic platform and be able to use it for all student organizations. So,
Paul Johnson, Kingdom Cuts. You said about your friendship and business. Document everything. You need to have everything on a foundational document, where whatever you guys talk about in meetings, all that stuff needs to be documented. Do y'all have the article of corporation, have you formed your LLC?
we haven't filed anything yet. So we're still trying to figure out if we're a partnership or if so when we want to brand as Ease. So right now we're ChapterEase, which is for fraternities. We want to branch out to homeowner associations, churches, companies, So we want to brand it as Ease, so it'll be like Company Ease, and then stuff like that. So we might file as Ease Incorporated, and then under that have ChapterEase owned by that and that aspect. That's still another thing we're trying to play with.
You probably wanna do that pretty quick,
Yeah.
because your idea, this concept that you guys have is a win.
Appreciate it.
So,
Thank you.
So you wanna get with your guys, get your partnership worked out, get all on paper, get documentation. Because with friendships,
It's
business is business, friendship is friendship. And you wanna separate those, as soon as possible.
and we'd rather be proactive than reactive. So we want to approach the situation early. So like I said, we're just over 2 weeks out of 3DS and about 5 days out of span. So all this has happened really quick, is what we're saying. So we went from concept to almost having a product in 3 weeks. So it's kind of a lot for us to gather. Now we're kind of like, okay, like, this is a plausible idea. We're actually pursuing it. Now where's the equity line break up? So me and my partner, that kind of started it. Where we brought on 2 more in 3DS, where does the equity switch? So we go like, meaning 30-30, and then like 20, or that's kind of what we're playing with. Because a grand scheme, this could be worth, a couple million, and 5% of a couple million, you're gonna walk away with a nice check.
Do you guys have a lawyer friend, advisor?
We have an alumni within our chapter that's John Austin. He's Austin and Sparks law firm in Atlanta, but he's more personal injury law than like business law. So that's kind of what our disconnect is.
Maybe he can refer you to someone.
Yeah, definitely reach out to them. Okay, I kind of want to change mode. So we're trying to like not necessarily patent, so obviously be copyright for the idea, but for the platform itself, we don't really know how to copyright it versus trademarking logos and slogans and stuff versus copyright. I was wondering if anybody had any advice, any impact on which route to go, what's the best way to do it, and like they're trying to protect what we have. Yes, sir.
Find yourself a good, intelligent property attorney to advise you on that. Because they're gonna tell you which way to go, they're gonna see it. It should be somebody in the Savannah area, I would think, that specializes in that. And I wouldn't even try to, that's not somebody to ask anybody for advice on unless they did it for a living. But there's one.
Okay. Okay. I have another question, which is structuring the day-to-day. It's really hard balancing like school, my other company, this company, trying to do like intramurals and still be active in the fraternity. So as you can imagine, it's very busy, and I understand time management is key. But at what point are you like, okay, this is more important than this, what do I need to do here? Because we want to pursue this out of school. I graduate in December, sorry if I mentioned that. So I still have a whole nother semester of potentially running 2 companies and still being a full-time student, as well as working at Deegan's PDs, if anybody is familiar with that. So, but any time management advice?
Hard times.
Yes, sir.
I think what you need to do is from your first question where Fred was down, you need to get your roles. Who's doing what? And like a graphic designer, I mean, you're not gonna make that person your equal partner, especially if they're not doing it. So you need to figure out with the partners how you're doing it and your equal role. That way, then you're sitting there going, okay, where do we go with this? Each one has a responsibility. And then you said, okay, listen, by Friday, we each need to have this done. So that way, after intramurals or whatever, they get that part done. That way, now one person's trying to spread themselves out. You each know your strengths, and you get it done, and you make those set goals and dates to get it. Or else if you just say, okay, yeah, work on it, then you're not going to do it. And then that way, and you need to get this in writing between y'all. But in that way, if that one person is flaking out, sorry, you don't need to be part of this. Because you need that, or else the time is of the essence, because you have an awesome idea, but there's always others out there with ideas too. So, to not get beat out of it. So that's what you need really to get your work done. Go back to what Fred said, who's doing what, what's your strength, accept it, and this is how it's going to be. If not, we don't hold up to it, each person doesn't hold up to their responsibility, then we need to move on. You want to get done. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Brian Reese, Party Harbor Inflatables. I'm going to piggyback off of these guys. Cut the dead wood early.
Yeah.
Just if they don't have the same passion you got, get them out of there. Because they're just in it for one reason, that's to get a paycheck at the end.
Yeah.
So make sure that they have the same passion you do and willing to put in the same effort and that you are. Otherwise, they're just there to make an easy paycheck or so.
So say we do want to, ask somebody to like leave. What's the best way? I've never fired anybody. Like what's the best way to say, I'm sorry, like your services are no longer needed. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Exactly.
Just leave it at that.
Look at old Donald Trump apprentice shows.
Yeah.
Fire out here.
It's never an easy thing to do, but
But
you gotta do it.
No, I was gonna say one other thing with for the legal advices and stuff to do. Right here, this facility, you don't understand how valuable this is for you. I mean, the SBDA, Small Business Development Center here and all that, they can run with you on this. And so I stay heavily involved with the big right here. I'm not talking just Wednesdays, I'm talking about Suzanne and all of them, Dominic, use them all. And these guys, they can do it.
I'm in here all the time.
So that's what you need. They'll get you going in the right direction too, with a lot of your.
Nominate two?
He's just a socialite guy, that's all.
I'm going to make another comment about, you're talking about your time management. You may have to give up some things. You may find the intramurals isn't as important anymore. You have to prioritize. How important is this business? And, I can throw some people out there that, I'm telling you to drop out of school, but Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, these guys just dropped out of college because they're business planning, and you're too close to ending, so I wouldn't say that. But you may have to drop out of intramurals or some of those other things, maybe nights out, not net slaving as often, or, those kind of things. You need to be out work. I mean, so you have to prioritize how important it is to you. If it's your priority, then you'll make it work. You'll find the time to do it. Your school, and then work, and then your fraternity. Some of those other things that were fun to do might need to be just kind of put in the back burner for a while. If this is that important to you.
Absolutely.
Just come back and sponsor.
Yeah.
That's what we plan on doing. Yes, sir.
One follow-up on, you want people with passion, and I understand that, but also you want people that have attributes or capabilities you don't have. So if finance is a weak point or accounting is a weak point, yes, you can hire that, but also you may want a partner that has that. Or if you're not outgoing as you seem to be, and you were more introverted, you might need a partner that's great at marketing and selling with passion, but also as a partner. So look for those attributes as well, those that you need.
Is your developer part of your team?
So that's kind of where another weakness is. So we've met with a couple mentors here that have recommended like their companies, and we have my partner, his best friend out of high school is now a web developer engineer at Georgia Tech, and he just got hired on at Capital One for software engineering. So we went and met with him last weekend, 2 weekends ago in Atlanta, and kind of gave him a rundown. So he kind of gave us like pricing scheme and stuff. So we can use him if we need to, but we kind of want to find like an IT student here that is like a student, so he still kind of brings the college like tech-wise, because our front end and our brain is going to be very important in how we get fraternities to switch from their current like dues collection guys that they use to switching to us. So that's kind of our weakness. How do you find an IT guy that's good enough that can help us survive?
Well, because what I would suggest is, because I've actually heard this from here, is your developer you want somebody who will be part of your team as a partner. Because I'm sure they've told you that here, because I go, wow, that made a lot of sense, because your software is only as good as that developer, and people are going to invest in you if that person's part of it. If that person's not part of it, they're going, well, we'll just go with that person. So you want to bring in as your.
We have a lot of other features we want to extend to. Like we want to bring in, so like the main dashboard we have right now is for the end user just to use and just see what's going on. But then we also have the permissions for the exec board to be able to enter the data. We want to start a candidate one where it helps like the new member programs that they have, and we also want to bring alumni into it. So we did a customer survey at 3DS and sent it out, and we had an alumni respond saying that they wish they could be more involved in the chapter without always being asked to fundraise. Because as you can imagine, hey, need money for this, homecoming, blah, blah, blah. So we want to do like a LinkedIn type deal called Greek Link, is what we want to brand it as. But it's like a LinkedIn for fraternity and sororities, where you recruit Greeks, and then like seniors can search alumni's resumes, and they can see who they work for, how long in that aspect. So like we have a lot of features we want to incorporate eventually. So we want an IT guy that's going to stick with us for the long run and not kind of take this, build it for us, and just be like, oh, okay, like see guys, I'm going to take this somewhere else. So, yes sir.
I had one other quick question. As far as like looking into the future, not so much, you know, getting the business started and all that, do you guys already figure out how you're gonna go about getting it out there once once you got it all?
So our go-to-market strategy, we have 492 confirmed beta testers here that we can utilize through 5 different organizations right now, including my own. The girl on our team, she's an 85 here, so she's bringing the sorority aspect in and then being my partner with both the fraternities. So we bring that, and then we want to like target the top 10 largest fraternities and sororities across America. So we have another buddy that works for our Sigma Nu Nationals as a leadership consultant, kind of like a brand ambassador, sales rep for the Nationals. He travels, he gets a region, travels to different chapters, consults with their exec board. So we want to be able to utilize them to get the word out to their chapters. So we actually this summer on June 30th we'll be in San Diego at our Sigma Nu National Convention, and we're gonna have a booth set up and start talking to them. And we can pitch it to the board of directors of Sigma Nu, but they won't let us pitch it to the conference as a whole. So we are trying to utilize as many aspects as we can. We even thought about taking this like Greek life offices and saying, hey, this can help with your social paperwork. This can incorporate this to help the communication between the office, that the university, and the chapters. Trying to communicate that to you a little bit. Well, any questions? Any general questions for me? Any advice? Any like, hey, like, keep going, stay strong.
Keep growing, stay strong.
Appreciate it.
Question about your t-shirt.
Yeah.
Where is it housed in? Is that in your hometown or here?
No, it's here. So our printer's about 3 feet by 2 feet. We can travel with it as we need, throw it in the back of it. My other partner has a Yukon that we take it back and forth. It's going good. It's kind of been on the back burner, not gonna lie. So we started it with the clothing line of Southern Shade, and then took our own manufacturing, cut our costs down, and then we're like, well, we can do other, like, fraternity shorty t-shirts, we can do, like, event t-shirts, like family barbecue stuff. There's a lot higher profit margins. So we kind of put our line on hold, and we're kind of pushing the custom design side, because with direct to garment, everything's digital. It's literally like, the printers you see here has a print head, you type it in, it prints the image, digital bang. We can print a shirt in about a minute and a half with the 100-second heat custom. So it's not bad. So production-wise, we can roll it out, but with working on this, the end goal in a t-shirt is going to be alive. Yeah, it's a market, but it's very saturated. As long as we're lower than customing, usually we can get, jobs. But with this, there's a lot more money in the long run. So it's kind of like, so we've kind of been utilizing both companies. So for 3DS, we printed some t-shirts to walk around when we did our customer validation, and then for the Span Pitch, we did some more t-shirts. We did a t-shirt giveaway. So I'm using both companies to bounce off each other. So say ChapterEase will buy t-shirts from Southern Shade for our brand ambassadors, our sales reps, or just to give free gear to chapters and stuff. So we're trying to, incorporate it all. But it's tough. That was a dog. Very good. Thank you.
Get back, we can say thank you.
Appreciate it.
Again, he participated in 3 days and in the Savannah Fast Pitch competition. So we're really excited about the future of our students and the product that we're cranking out here in Georgia. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Suzanne to give us a few closing remarks and a few comments.
So once again, just want to say thank you so much to Eric and to Mindy. Mindy had to slip because she had a class, so if we could tell them thank you again. It's not only a big deal for entrepreneurs, you guys are out there doing this on a daily basis, but it's kind of a big deal, especially for our students, to be able to come and get your advice. So thank you so much for being here and giving them your advice, and thank y'all for being here to pitch your ideas and your problems. So just a few things. Also, thank you to, of course, Dr. Halby and Cool Beans, David, for providing us with the coffee every big cafe. So the next one is the second Wednesday in April at 8:30. So that's April the 13th. Also, thank you to Art's team. Art was here earlier putting together some video for a commercial that we're going to be airing on Northland Cable for another partnership that we have. So you might see your smiling faces on local TV. coming up pretty soon. So thank y'all for being so diligent about being here every week. Also coming up, we have, so the Big Cafe is April the 13th. Make sure that you guys forward that out to other folks, as we want to make sure we still have a good group coming and giving that feedback and advice. It's crucial, of course. If you attend 5 sessions, you get mugs. Are there any? Okay. So a couple of people are on the verge of getting their mug, but they're not here today yet. So we don't have any mugs to give out today. The other events that we have coming up, next Tuesday, we have a brown bag lunch and learn. This one will be on leveraging video production. And Jake Hallman with Stout House Media will be here to teach that lunch and learn. Then we have Entrepreneur Night is the 4th Tuesday of the month. So the next one's going to be March the 22nd, and that's from 5 to 7. That event is sponsored by Eagle Creek Brewery. So you guys come and do some networking there. Also, Burr and Takeout helps us out with some food for that one. So thank you very much, Miss Sally. And then we are getting ready to open up the incubator. So if you guys know of anybody, it'll be ready to rock this summer. We'll have our business after hours in June. Will be next door. So if you know of anyone that needs any space, please let us know. We're already taking some pre-leases or looking at renting that space out. And then in April, we have an event coming up. Very happy to have partnered with the Center for Sustainability. Tom Sasaki with TerraCycle will be speaking. It's our entrepreneur lecture series, sustainability lecture series that we're doing together, and that'll be over at the Neesmith Lanes building on April the 7th. And he is a fantastic entrepreneur. Has really grown his business doing some recycling brigades. So if you guys be sure put that on your calendar, sign up for our newsletter online. And if you have any questions or want to talk about starting up a business, then hang around and we'll see what you got. And if you have any questions or concerns, then that's what we're here for. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate it.